Now, if you have been playing jtoh for quite a while, you have probably seen many players quitting. And a lot of these players quit for the reason that the game or community is becoming more toxic. I always found this interesting since most of the time when you quit a game, it's because you're getting bored of it or you're just growing out of it. So I decided to make this video to find out if the jtoh community really is becoming more toxic and why that is. Let's split this video in two chapters, answering both questions. So this chapter is mainly going to be about if jtoh is really becoming more toxic and how toxic it really is. So how do we find out how toxic jtoh is? Well, I decided to compare it to different Roblox games. And while jtoh is actually more in the middle, if you compare jtoh to games like Doors or Meep City, it is a pretty toxic game. However, it's always going to be more toxic than those games since the game is built on skill. But if you compare it to games like Combat Warriors or Phantom Forces, it's really not that bad. But to see if jtoh really is becoming more toxic, I decided to take a trip down the depths of hell. I went to jtoh discussion, and what I found was that jtoh definitely has become more toxic over the years. And it's pretty easy to avoid. All you need to do is just avoid jtoh discussion and you will probably never experience much toxicity in this game. But why is jtoh becoming more toxic? I'm not completely sure, since this is a difficult question to answer, but I think I've got a pretty good theory of why the game is becoming more toxic. I would say jtoh started getting more toxic in 2021, and more better players started appearing. Since the release of Ring 9, getting better at the game became much easier, and more people started beating Soul Crushings. Now this is also the year where less new players started joining, and I think what mainly happened was that the skill gap between good players and beginners became much bigger. This made the game more toxic, since with so many good players, people started to look down on beginners who were still struggling. For example, coiling became really hated from here on. Tons of arguments would just come about if the player who beat the tower deserved a GG or no GG, since he used a coil. Also, whenever a player beat a tower that was like medium to intense difficulty, many better players started complaining in chat that this win got more GGs than I got when I beat Tower Blue beginners or any other Soul Crushings. Toxicity in the Discord was even worse, which led many players to even quit from this. I think the only real way to make jtoh less toxic is by having more beginner and intermediate players who would balance this out. This way, most better players will probably be less toxic, but the only way for this to happen is for the game to grow, which is a pretty difficult thing. If you have any other solutions, leave them in the comments, I guess. Anyways, this is the end of this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any video ideas, leave them in the comments. Subscribe, like, and have a great day.